All right, Ryan Winter on the line here from Sports Chat 503. We love having Ryan on talking Oregon football and encourage you to head on over to his channel. A lot of great stuff involving Oregon athletics. Of course, we're focused on the football, but he loves his Ducks throughout the year.
Sure.
All right, I'm looking at this schedule. Stony Brook, week 3. We got to start there. That's the one everybody's laser focused on.
I mean, right? Season ticket holders are they're already booking their reservations for a big weekend. That's a tough one. I personally think I like the idea of keeping it in-house. I would like the idea of playing Portland State, rotating back and forth. So Portland State plays Oregon State and Oregon every other year. Rotate that, keep the state in, keep the money in state. No offense to going across the country to play. That's fine. And Stony Brook's trying to build their program. I get it. But that's one that is a little bit out of left field for us. We're used to Fresno State, long history of Fresno State, long history of Hawaii, but Stony Brook, not so much, especially when the biggest game of the preseason is an away game.
Of course, we're talking about the Ohio State game on the road in Columbus. Yeah. At the Shoe was going to be at Austin Stadium. That game missed, so it only makes sense. And somebody asked me this on the phone the other night in a call-in show, why are we missing that game? Well, it only makes sense. You skip the year. You don't want to be shuffling a schedule and moving it on down the road. But have we heard anything about what's going to happen with the game that should have been played at Austin Stadium?
Yeah, I think they said the next time they can revisit it, or the next time they have a room is like 2035 or something. It's going to be a ways out. Everybody is scheduled so far out, and it could be a situation. They've said both that could be. Sometimes teams will drop out, and you'll have an open spot, and then maybe you could be that team that you could go and start the year at Jerry's World or whatever. That might happen, but it's not the home and home we wanted, and it's not the home and home I think college football wants. I think going forward, the home and home really provides a lot for us. It gives us a lot of storylines. It connects the dots, even if it's disconnected by 1 year. I really like it back to back, though. It gives a lot of different storylines. And this was going to be such a humongous game, obviously, for the Ducks. We are just hoping to stay in the game. If you're being realistic, I think there are Duck fans out there that think the Ducks are going to win every game, but just being realistic, Ohio State is one of the best of the best. They're like the Yankees, right? They're always the top tier. And that was just going to be such a huge game to be a showcase of Autzen, be able to really try to do our best to represent the Pac-12. Pac-12 needs it right now. And it was just going to be a showcase game. I thought coming off a Rose Bowl win, having the guys on the team that they had, looking forward to that game, could have been a game that you would have hung with them. Maybe not win that game, but at least make it really interesting. This one is intriguing to me. I think going out there, anything can happen, obviously. I tend to think it's about 70-30 Ohio State to us, but if the Ducks can get out there and stay with it, maybe some turnovers late, you be within a striking distance, anything can happen. But I really respect Ohio State. I've been to the Rose Bowl when we played them in 2010. I was at the national championship when we played them 2015. And, there are fringe fans that are a little bit more intense or a little bit not as nice as others. But there's a lot of really quality people, a lot of really quality fans at Ohio State. And they represent college football to the fullest. So we're excited to play that game.
I'm sure word has made its way from Columbus out to Eugene, though, that Ohio State's about as inexperienced as they can be coming into this season. So they've got certain units on the field that are really up in the air, starting with that quarterback position. For the first time in 50 years, there is not a player on the roster who has thrown a pass in college football. Now, they're all really talented, of course, but they're inexperienced.
It's going to be interesting. They'll get that first week, and same with the Ducks. And I tend to think this is why this year is going to be so exciting. Ohio State on paper, it feels like has the edge, and that's why you play the game. And Oregon's got a lot going for it. I think Oregon's got, if they can stay healthy through this offseason and really start off with all their bells and whistles on their offense, I think they can do some pretty good things. It's just whether or not the Oregon's defense is going to be able to hang with Ohio State's offense. And if Oregon can stay in this game, I would be very excited to see early on. Like I said, if Oregon beats Ohio State, it's going to be headline news. If Ohio State wins, then it's going to be just what it's expected, right? So I think the bigger picture is to just kind of say, hey, we want to play these games and, let the chips fall where they may. And it's going to be beneficial to your team in the long run. There's a lot of people who kind of make that argument. Should you play these games or not? Should you try to just go and win every game? Should you have Stony Brook 3 different times on your schedule? And versus people who really want to see good action. And it's a gift for season ticket holders to be able to have a team like Ohio State come to town. Obviously, it didn't happen, but it's going to be a great situation for Ohio State fans to see Oregon come to town.
Now, in the Pac-12, just to explain the scheduling format for people that are unaware, you play everyone in your division. So think of it this way. You got 12 teams. You got 11 opponents, possible opponents. You play 9 conference games, so you're missing 2 teams. They're going to be in the other division. So for Oregon this year, you miss USC, and you miss, it looks like Arizona State.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
that's pretty favorable.
Absolutely favorable, 100%, especially where you see Utah at, where you see Colorado at right now. Both teams feels like maybe Colorado's on the rise. Maybe Utah's taking a step back from where they were last couple of years. No, and then you get to play UCLA down there. I think recruiting is really important on the West Coast to be able to play well in Los Angeles. If you can get down there, have those kids who are in Los Angeles come to that game and be on the side of your sideline, I think is a big deal. UCLA is a unique school. Last year, they played Oregon very tough. They had some of the best defensive line in our conference last year. And Chip Kelly, I feel like, might be on a little bit of a hot seat. That's a real question mark. So going into this year, Arizona, the way the schedule works out is you got Arizona at home. I think it's the most favorable start to the conference schedule. Feels like they're the team that's struggling the most right now. Stanford down there is always a tough place to play Stanford, but they don't have the raucous crowd, and we don't even know what crowds are going to be like. I could see the West Coast really slow to fill those stadiums back up, and maybe they're at half capacity or even less, but the bye comes early in the schedule this year. Having Cal at home, Cal played Oregon very tough last year. That's on a Friday night. Cal played Oregon very tough. Now Cal's defensive coordinator, they had a co-defensive coordinator, and Oregon defensive coordinator basically have switched positions. So Keith Hayward went to Cal. He was our safeties coach. And Tim DeRuyter went to Oregon, who was the co-defensive coordinator. So there's a lot of interplay between those two schools. That's going to be a hell of a game every year. That is. The UCLA game's always going to be big, no matter what team they put on the field. It's just how that goes. And being down there is always good. Colorado at home. I think Colorado's on the way up. Carl Durrell's got a good thing going on there. It was very surprising what they were doing last year. The fact that they were in the running possibly for the South was unheard of if you would have asked us at the beginning of the year. Washington up there, always tough, but Oregon's played well up in Seattle lately. Washington State at home. Utah out there. I think that's a really scary one. The Utah game and the UCLA one are both real question marks. And then Oregon State, because Oregon State won this last year, I tend to think Oregon's going to rebound and possibly put it on them a little bit at home. So I think it's a great schedule.
Ryan Winter, Sports Chat 503. Check out his YouTube channel. Just type that in, Sports Chat 503. You'll be able to find it right there. Oregon athletics across the board. Of course, we're interested in football. You get that year-round, but also the other sports as well. And Ryan, once they hit spring practice, if we get any news out of there, which is sometimes difficult to do, but if we hear anything, certainly would love to have you back soon to talk more football, because the off season's long. So we want to hear from you.
Yeah, it is. Sure. It is. And I think, this is the greatest thing about what we're doing, with you, Voice College Football, with, everybody else on YouTube, is just trying to promote the brand and trying to give people what they want, which is just more content talking about the thing they love. I think college football has really, really grown. And during our time and our lifetime, more than any other sport, the influence of college football, I think, is bigger than it's ever been right now.
All right, Ryan, appreciate it.
Thanks, man.